What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm here to break down the NBA Draftkings slate on February 3rd. We got a big 10-game slate here to get into. A lot of injuries, a lot of good games. It's going to be a fun day of basketball, and I'm really excited to get into it. Before I do that, if you're new here, make sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe to this channel. It really helps me grow. Helps me grow out some more and get some more subscribers, some more viewers. So thank you guys so much for that. NASCAR starts up next week. The first NASCAR video will be out next week, which is crazy to think. So I'm excited for that. If you want to get more of my content, you can always subscribe to my Patreon for NBA. You're gonna get a spreadsheet with all the stats and projections that you need to know for every single day, and you're gonna get you're gonna get all my game notes along with my rankings for every single slate. So even when I don't get out an NBA video, because I know I don't always get that out because I'm a college student, so it is kind of hard to always get out videos, but when I'm not able to get out a video, I am still always making content on that Patreon, so be sure to check that out. I'll put the link in the description down below. That's really all I got to say on that, though. Let's get into the individual plays, and we are going to start out with the Charlotte Hornets versus the Philadelphia 76ers. This game has an implied total of 221.5, with the Philadelphia 76ers pretty obviously being favored in this game, one of the best teams in the NBA versus Charlotte, so yeah. So two big injuries here for Charlotte today. We have Terry Rozier, which is questionable, who he missed yesterday, and then PJ Washington's out. So, or not yesterday, they didn't play. Was that yesterday the Hornets played? No, I think it was 2 days ago. Anyway, that doesn't really matter. So if Terry Rozier is out, we saw LaMelo Ball get the start, but we also saw Malik Monk play a ton of minutes. We saw him play 40 minutes overall, but that game went to overtime. I gave him 35 minutes today, and I mean, at $4,000, that's going to be a massive value. Now, this is only going to be if Terry Rozier is out, so we are going to have to pay attention to news up to lock. He is questionable today, not out already, so we will see what happens there. Even if Malik Monk doesn't start, I think he's going to be a good play at 4K. I think people will probably still just go back to LaMelo Ball. Now, if people are going to go to Malik Monk today and not go to LaMelo Ball because the last game, I think I'm going to be really interested in LaMelo because no one's going to play him, and he's going to be starting, and he just didn't have as great of a game as we've seen from him. So, paying attention to this news, I think this Terry Rozier news is very big. Fortunately, this is the first game of the day, so we will know this news before lock. And then PJ Washington is also out, so I expect Miles Bridges to probably slot into the starting lineup. He's $4,600. I gave him 32 minutes, and at 32 minutes for $4,600, it's just going to be way too cheap. That's going to be just a nice little value play on today's slate. However, there are a ton of really good value plays today, or a ton of potential value plays today. So I honestly don't even think he's like a lock and play. Like yesterday, if Miles Bridges was on the slate, he probably would have just been a lock. But today, it is going to be a little bit more difficult with all the value. Now, Gordon Hayward at $7,200 just looks like a pretty good point per dollar play. I gave him 37 minutes. He has a usage rate of 26.1 and assist rate of 17.8. It just looks pretty good for his price tag. So Gordon Hayward's going to be someone I'd like to target. Then on the other side of this game, we got Steph Curry and Joel Embiid. Now, Charlotte is the worst three-point shooting defensive team in the NBA. I mean, they're just, especially just watching them play, they just give up open threes after open threes after open threes. It's ridiculous. So who's that slot in for on Philly? That's Steph Curry. At $4,600, he's going to play 31 minutes, and if he can just, be ultra efficient against Charlotte, pretty much like Charlotte's allowed all year long, I think it's going to look like a very, very good play. So, Steph Curry is going to be someone I definitely have my eye on today and someone I want to get some exposure to. And then Joel Embiid at $10,000, yeah, he's expensive, but I mean, Charlotte just can't defend any bigs like Cody Zeller and Bismack Biyombo, and I mean, and no PJ Washington today. Like they're going to be in a handful with Joel Embiid here. I don't mind that. He's got a usage rate of 31.6 and a reward rate of 19.5. He gave him 38 minutes today, and he's 10K. So Joel Embiid looks very, very good today. Definitely going to be one of my favorite plays to pay up for today on today's slate. The next game we're going to talk about is the Milwaukee Bucks versus the Indiana Pacers. This is the highest total game on the slate at 232. As custom with the Bucks at this point, we're pretty much just seeing the totals for these games be very, very high, as we are going to see today. So, Dante DiVincenzo is going to be the first guy I'm interested in on the Bucks. He's $4,500. I gave him 27 minutes today. He has a usage rate of 16.3 and an assist rate of 13.1. At $4,500, it's going to look like a pretty good value. Now, I'd rather just pay $100 more for Steph Curry or Miles Bridges, but Dante DiVincenzo probably will get zero ownership today. So, on a 10-game slate, I think he does have pretty decent upside, so someone that I would like to maybe get some exposure to in tournaments. Then Brook Lopez at $5,300. I gave him 32 minutes today. He's just been playing a ton of minutes, and at $5,300, it's also just going to look pretty good, and he's probably someone that's also going to go overlooked. Again, and these two are in the highest total game on the slate right now, so we have no Lakers, we have no Clippers, we have no Nets, which are like the three super high-scoring teams, so we don't have to worry about them. So this is going to be the highest total game, and I don't want to avoid that. I don't want to just, get off of the highest total game, and that's just these guys look good, and I mean, yeah, it's not, they're not the sexy plays, but they look good, like solid plays in a very high scoring game, and I want to get after that. And then Chris Middleton at 8,200 just seems a little bit too cheap. I gave him 35 minutes today. He has a usage rate of 24.6, and assist rate 25.5, and a rebound rate of 10.2. That's going to look pretty good at $8,200 in the highest total game on the slate today. Down the other side of this game, we have the Indiana Pacers, where I'm going to start with Jeremy Lamb, who has recently entered the starting lineup for the Indiana Pacers here. Pacers are on a back-to-back tonight. I gave Lamb $5,700, or I gave him 30 minutes. He's $5,700. I gave him usage. He has a usage rate of 23.1 and a rebound rate of 10.6 this year. He's just going to look like a good play in a fast-paced game. For a fast-paced player, Jeremy Lamb, it is going to look good. Sabonis is $8,300, which is just ridiculously way too cheap for Domantas Sabonis. I don't understand the price tag here at all. He is way too cheap. I gave him 38 minutes today. He has a usage rate of 23.8, an assist rate of 23, and a rebound rate of 18.7. I don't understand that price tag. It makes no sense to me. So I'm going to be very interested in Domantas Sabonis. I'm going to get a lot of him today. Going to be one of my favorite plays overall on the slate. And then Miles Turner is $6,700. I gave him 35 minutes today. He has a usage rate of 17.6 and a rebound rate of 11.9. Next game we're going to talk about is the Atlanta Hawks versus the Dallas Mavericks. This game has an implied total of 224. Pretty decently total game, but it's going to be a slower pace game because Dallas plays pretty slow. DeAndre Hunter is going to miss this game for Atlanta, which is going to free up some extra minutes for John Collins and Cam Reddish, as well as usage for John Collins and Cam Reddish. And Collins is going to be the first guy I'm interested in here. He's $7,200 without Hunter on the floor. I gave him 35 minutes a day. He gets like a usage bump to 27.5% without Hunter on the floor, so that's going to be very big for him. That's going to be something I really like to target here. Kevin Huerter's been getting a lot more minutes without DeAndre Hunter on the floor at $5,600. I'm going to give him 38 today. He isn't as high of a or as good as a fantasy producer, but he does have a usage rate of 17.3 and assist rate of 17.5, and he's $5,600 and he's going to play a ton of minutes. Cam Reddish is $4,600. He's probably going to get the start for DeAndre Hunter here. I gave him 30 minutes here. His usage rate is 20.2. 30 minutes, $4,600 is just going to look like a good value. We have a lot of good 4K value today, if you guys have not been able to tell. It's just going to add to it. It's going to be someone I'm going to like to get in some tournament lineups. If you want to go for cash, he's fine. I think I'd rather probably go to Bridges and cash, but Reddish would be fine as well. I mean, you can play both too. I don't think anyone would be against that. Next, and then on the other side of this game, we have the Dallas Mavericks, where Luka's Luka. Pretty much every video, you want to play Luka Doncic until he gets 11.5K price range on Draftkings. I'm fine with that. 10,800. I'm fine playing Luka here. Tim Hardaway Jr. is $5,600. I gave him 36 minutes. He has a usage rate of 22.5%. That just is a little bit too cheap for his rates and the amount of minutes he's going to play at $5,600. I do like that a little bit. Wouldn't call him a smash value today, but he does look pretty solid. Next game we're going to talk about are the New York Knicks versus the Chicago Bulls. This is the lowest total game on the slate at 216.5. Not going to be a game to really target, especially from the Bulls side. I'm really just not interested in anybody from Chicago at all. But on the Knicks side, Emmanuel quickly is $5,500. Gave him 27 minutes. When he is on the floor, he has a usage rate of 27.1 and assist rate of 24.7. If we ever get this guy in the starting lineup, he's going to be a lock and play immediately. He still at playing 27 minutes at a 1.08 point per minute guy. I mean, he's still fine for me. I still like getting to Emmanuel quickly. I think he's worth a tournament shot for sure. And Mitchell Robinson's $5,000. He's too cheap. I gave him 30 minutes today. Now his usage rate is only 11.6 and assist rate is 2.3, but he has a rebound rate of 14.6. And we know that Mitchell Robinson can fill up the stat sheet on any given night. And with the Bulls down Wendell Carter now, there's not really a great defensive center to handle him there. So Mitchell Robinson looks like a fine option there. He's definitely someone I would like to target. The next game we're going to target is the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the LA Clippers. This game is also very low total with a 218 implied team total. Both teams are coming off of a back-to-back. Cleveland isn't. The Clippers are on a back-to-back tonight. Cleveland is not. And the Clippers just had a big game against Brooklyn. So, I mean, to be honest, Cleveland can win this game. I wouldn't be that surprised if Cleveland ends up pulling off this upset here. I mean, because, this is just not really a big game for the Clippers. But, it's still not a great bet to make, but because it's the Clippers and they have the best record in the NBA right now, so that is always a tough one to make that bet. But back to DraftKings on the Cleveland side, Darius Garland. So, okay, Andre Drummond is questionable and Larry Nance is out today. Larry Nance being out, I expect Taurean Prince to continue to start. I don't see why that wouldn't happen. And if Drummond is out, Jared Allen is going to get the start, and that's going to make Jared Allen a fine value again at $6,500. His price went up. Last game we saw Jared Allen be an absolute smash play when he got the start instead of Andre Drummond. I had him in 70% of my lineup, so that was a pretty good play today, the other day. So I'll go back to that if Andre Drummond is out. But I honestly kind of think he's going to play. But also, if Andre Drummond is out, Darius Garland and Colin Sexton are getting big usage bumps. Both of them are getting big usage bumps, and they're both going to be guys I like to go to. Darius Garland's $5,900, Sexton's $6,900. I gave them both 38 minutes today. They're both going to look like pretty good plays here. So, especially if Drummond's out. I'm honestly fine with them even if Drummond does play, but if Drummond is out, I think that both of them look like two top options at the guard position. Like Sexton has been priced in the 7Ks recently, and he got priced down to 6,900 today. I mean, I'm guessing it's a matchup, but like I'm not that worried about this matchup where against the Clippers here, especially on a back-to-back, that I'm like gonna be scared to get off of it. On the Clippers side, the only guy I'm going to really be interested in here is going to be Reggie Jackson. He's $5,400. He's going to get started. Game 35 minutes today. Usage rate 20.6. Assist rate 21.6. Just looks like a pretty good value. Now the next game we're going to talk about is another game I really like today, Miami Heat versus the Washington Wizards, especially on the Heat side. It's going to be the fastest paced game of the day. It has an implied total of 229.5, and I'm literally going to be interested in all 5 stars for the Heat here. The Wizards, as we've gone over, there are 3 teams I love to target here this year on DraftKings. The Washington Wizards because they can't defend and they play fast. The Brooklyn Nets because they can't defend and they play fast. And Minnesota Timberwolves because they just straight up can't defend. So those 3 teams are the teams we like to target. This is the Heat going against the Wizards. I'm going to continue to go with that route. Bam Adebayo is $9,300. Gave him 36 minutes today. Usage rate 25.3. Assist rate 29.4. And rebound rate of 15.9. Looks great. Looks like a great point per dollar here. I'm going to love Bam. Jimmy Butler, same thing, $8,400. Gave him 34 minutes. Usage rate 25.7. Assist rate 30.3. And rebound rate of 10.8. And the Heat are kind of in win now mode, like because of all the stupid COVID protocols that they had to deal with. And a bunch of stars being out for a bunch of games, especially Jimmy Butler, who's their best player. They have to win games, so they're pushing it hard right now, and so I don't expect some of these guys to see limited minutes. So I'm not really worried about that either here against Washington. Goran Dragic is $6,100, gave him 30 minutes, usage rate 26.9, assist rate 33.3, looks good. Tyler Hero is $6,800, gave him 34 minutes, usage rate 24.4, assist rate 18.7, rebound rate of 11.4, looks good. Duncan Robinson, $5,500, we know what he is. He's a 3-point shooter. If he gets hot, he's going to be great. So always a good tournament play in my opinion, is Duncan Robinson. But yeah, all 5 Heat stars I'm interested in today. We'll probably wouldn't play more than 2 in a lineup because of the 10 games late, but if you're playing a ton of lineups, I want exposure to all 5 of these guys. And on the Wizards side, Rui Hachimura is just a little too cheap in my opinion. He's $5,400, gave him 35 minutes today. He's got a usage rate of 18.5, an assist rate of 11.4, and a rebound rate of 8.9. That's just going to look a little bit too cheap for me, so Rui Hachimura is going to be someone I'm interested in. Now we got the Thunder and the Rockets. This game has an implied total of 221.5, 104.75 pace game. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is out today, as is George Hill. George Hill's out 4 weeks. SGA is going to not play today, and that is just going to open up so much value on this Oklahoma City Thunder team. Darius Bazley, first off, is getting a massive usage bump without Shai Gilgeous-Alexander on the floor. That goes up to about 27%. That's just going to be a massive usage bump. At $5,200, he's probably going to be the highest usage player on this team. And at $5,200 for the highest usage player on a team, that's just, it looks like a great play. As is Hamidou Diallo, without both George Hill and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I expect Diallo I gave him 30 minutes today. I think he's going to play a ton, because who else are they going to play? They have, Josh Hall. I already gave Teo Maledon 30 minutes, too. I think they're going to be the 2 stars in the backcourt. They don't have a lot of guys to give the ball to at this point. It's just a bunch of frontcourt players, and they need some backcourt players. So I think Hamidou Diallo is about to be in for a huge minute spike here. And at $4,500, that's going to be great. He already has a high usage when he's on the floor, and I'm sure he's going to have even higher usage today if he's in the starting lineup. Then Lou Dort at $4,400 has kind of been burning people recently, but I think this might actually be the game to go to. Him. He gets a 10% usage bump without Shai Gilgeous-Alexander on the floor this year, and at $4,400 playing 33 minutes, that's just going to be a smash value too. So he looks great. And then Theo Maledon at $4,300 is probably going to start again. He's going to get a slight usage bump without SGA on the floor. So all 4 of those guys look great. Great. I want exposure to all 4 of them. It's just so much usage to go around without two big-time players on this team, especially your best player and highest usage player in SGA. So all 4 of those guys are going to look great, going to be key guys for me today. Love Diallo and Dort especially. Those are probably my 2 favorites, but I really like Bazley and Maledon as well. So I'm interested in all OKC Thunder today. Next up, we're going to talk about the Rockets. Oh, yeah, same game. Rockets play the Thunder. No John Wall, so no John Wall for the Rockets either. If Sterling Brown starts, he's also going to be great value, $3,100. I only give him 25 minutes now, but if he's starting, he could end up seeing 30-plus minutes. They might just put Eric Gordon at point guard. We'll see what happens, or Oladipo at point guard. But if Sterling Brown ends up getting to start, I'm going to really love him today. So we'll see what happens there with the starting lineup. Be paying attention to that. And then Victor Oladipo is just going to get a little bit of a usage bump without John Wall on the floor, so that's going to look pretty good. Next up, we're going to talk about the San Antonio Spurs versus the New Orleans Pelicans. This game has an implied total of 224, and LaMarcus Aldridge is going to be out today, which is going to free up minutes, more than likely for Jakob Poeltl. I expect him to start. I give him 26 today. We don't usually see him get over 30 when Aldridge is out. I'm sure Drew Eubanks gets some usage at the 5, as does Rudy Gay, and maybe even some Keldon Johnson if they go small against New Orleans, which is something you can do against New Orleans, especially if Steven Adams is out. So that's going to be something to look for. But Jakob Poeltl, I'm sure he's going to be really chalky today. I don't usually like to play him when he's chalk. I mean, yeah, he's $4,600. He's going to play some minutes. But I think people are going to be expecting him to see in the upper 30s, like we saw with Eric. Like yesterday, everyone expected Eric Pascal to see like 30+ minutes, and he wasn't even close. I think it's kind of the same thing with Poeltl. I think Poeltl's probably way safer than Pascal was yesterday, but I still am a little bit worried on him. And then Lonnie Walker's just kind of been sucking, but he's seen his price go down to 3,800. I still gave him 30 minutes today. That's just way too cheap. And I'm still going to continue to play Lonnie Walker here. I just think his role on his team and that price tag is just too cheap. I mean, I know Derek White's back. He's taken away some minutes from him, but I still think Lonnie Walker's still a pretty good play here, and he has a high ceiling. We know he can score the ball. And then DeMar DeRozan, Keldon Johnson, and DeJounte Murray all look good. They're all high usage rates. All are going to play a ton of minutes. I'm fine with all three of them. They all look like just good plays to have in your lineups today, especially DeMar DeRozan. DeRozan's getting a big usage bump without Aldridge on the floor. Big usage, assist, and rebound rate bump. He's getting all of it. So DeMar DeRozan probably is the guy to go to here today on the Spurs, but all three of them overall do look good. I'm really not interested in anybody on Pelicans, so, or I'm sorry, they played at Timberwolves. I wrote in Pelicans. They played at Timberwolves. Oh, even better. Okay, sorry, we messed up there. Yeah, so they played at Timberwolves today. Again, that's like the worst defensive team in the NBA, like I said. Well, the Nets are, then them. I love targeting them, so even better. Yeah, I love the Spurs. Got Spurs players today. That's going to be an even better spot than it was originally. So, yeah, DeMar DeRozan, Keldon Johnson, DeJounte Murray, love them. Lonnie Walker, good tournament play. Jakob Poeltl, great cash play. But those other three, I mean, gosh, especially DeMar DeRozan, he's gonna be a key play today for me. And then I hate Minnesota. Like, I hate that team so much. I'm not playing anybody from them. I'm going to continue to not play anybody from them. Their minutes are ridiculous. They spread them out ridiculously. Until Karl-Anthony Towns comes back, I'm not comfortable playing anybody from that team. So even D'Angelo Russell, like, he only sees like 30 minutes a game. So I'm not comfortable playing anybody from them. It's just not going to be a spot I want to get to. The Suns play the Pelicans. This is the team that plays the Pelicans. Devin Booker's back today, so everyone's kind of overpriced. They've all been priced up for Booker being out, and now he's back. So Mikal Bridges is the only one I kind of like his price a little bit. $5,400. He's going to play 33 minutes. He looks fine. Josh Hart at $4,500, gave him 32 minutes. He's going to look like a good value, but Phoenix is a good defensive team that New Orleans has to play against, so I don't really like going up there that much, especially on a 10-game slate. It's a lower total game as well, so not a spot I love. And the last game is going to be the Kings versus the Boston Celtics. This is the Kings. I don't really love any of their prices. If you want to play De'Aaron Fox, play De'Aaron Fox. He's fine. But Harrison Barnes at 6,300 looks decent. I gave him 37 minutes today. He has a usage rate of 17.9 and an assist rate of 13.8 and a rebound rate of 10. That's going to look solid. And then on the Celtics side, we have Daniel Tice and Jason Tatum. Tice is $4,800. I gave him 29 minutes today. That's just a little bit too cheap for that amount of minutes he's going to play. Now, the thing with Daniel Tice is you always got to worry about foul trouble because that dude fouls more than anybody in the NBA. So there's always that worry. But when he doesn't foul, he always looks like a pretty solid play. And then Jason Tatum's $8,900. I think he's too cheap for the role he plays. Usage rate of 31, 38 minutes. Assist rate 19.4, 11% rebound rate. He's too cheap, especially against this fast-paced Sacramento team. So I think that's really all I'm going to have to say on this video today. Thank you guys so much for checking this out. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and make some money tonight.